Hi everyone, this is Ashley with CT Digitals. I'm going to do a tutorial to show you how to use my new Petite newborn digital backdrops in Photoshop. I have open the image that I want to use. I have open a digital backdrop that I'm going to use, but can also place it in a different way as well, and I'm going to do it using place embedded. But if you want to just copy and paste this into your image, you can do it that way as well. So to start off, first I'm going to go to my quick selection tool and I'm going to go to select subject, and now it's going to select the baby and the bowl on, because I have it on a plain backdrop. Now these digital backdrops, you're going to want to shoot for your backdrop. You always want to shoot for your digital backdrops, but if you don't, these are definitely going to work best on a plain backdrop in the studio. So if you have like seamless paper, or if you use vinyl, whatever you use, it is going to be a lot easier to use these if you have a plain backdrop, simply just because of the selection process, but also because of using different blending modes. You're going to want to use a solid background. Okay, so now once that is selected, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my layer, and I'm going to create a layer mask on that. And I'm going to click back down on my background layer. And this is then where you could just come over and select all, edit and copy, and then edit and paste into your image. But I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to Place Embedded. And then you would just navigate to the folder wherever your files are saved, and then go ahead and select the file that you want to use. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and resize. And now obviously this looks very copy and pasted. There's a lot of different ways that you can use digital backdrops and overlays. This I'm going to use on a different blending mode, and then I'm going to kind of tweak the digital backdrop because I want my original shadows to show through. So you can go through and look at all your different blending modes to see how they look, but I'm going to be doing this one on multiply blending mode. And then I'm going to add a couple adjustment layers to my digital backdrop here. So I'm going to add a curves layer first, and then I'm going to go ahead and click this button right here. That is to create a clipping mask, and that is so it is applying just to my digital backdrop and not to my original image at all. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up that there so it matches a lot better with my original image. I don't want my digital backdrop to be too dark. Okay, and now the baby and the original backdrop is a little bit cooler than the digital backdrop I'm using. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a hue saturation, a color balance layer above my original photo. And then I'm going to just make it a little bit warmer. Okay, and then I'm going to actually duplicate that, and I'm going to drag one of them above this layer as well. And then I'm going to right click that and create clipping mask. Where is it at? Over here. They always change it up. Okay, so now as you can see, that made it a lot warmer. And actually, I didn't really want to make the backdrop much warmer, just the baby and the bowl, so I'm going to get rid of this one down here, and I'm going to keep that one right there, and maybe even just bring that down a tiny bit. Okay, and now I also want to desaturate the digital backdrop a little bit, so I'm going to click back on my digital backdrop here. I'm going to do a hue saturation layer, and I'm just going to drag down a saturation a tiny bit. Now I also, if I zoom in, you can see the backdrop is pretty sharp here. I want to soften that a little bit, so I'm going to click on the digital backdrop layer, go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then just I think I'm only going to do like 0.5. Just I want to blur it a little bit, but I still want it to look real, so I don't want to blur it too much. Zoom out there, and I would be done with this one. I think it looks really pretty. So if you need to add, say the light looks like it's falling a little bit differently on your digital backdrop than on your original image, you can always use a gradient. So say that I needed to add a little bit more light right here and a little bit more darkness over here in the digital backdrop. Since I'm using a blending mode, it kind of lets the shadows show through already, but you could also click on your digital backdrop and your gradient tool and just make sure it's going from black to white, and then just drag it on your image on soft light blending mode, and then you could bring that down a little, and then you could use your layer mask on that and your white and black brush to brush on or off however much you need to. I didn't really need to do it on that image, and I wouldn't leave it on that image, so I'm going to delete that, but just to show how you can kind of tweak the shadows and the highlights a little bit on the digital backdrop if you need to. And that's it. If you need to, you can zoom in and check the edges of your bowl just to make sure that the selection did a really good job. Mine did a pretty good job, but if you need to adjust that at all, you would just click the layer mask on it would be this one right here next to your original image, and you could use your black and white brush at 100% opacity, a soft brush, and a small one just to kind of clean up those edges. That's it. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message and I will link these in the description.